Michael, the organization, is this basically a PAC? It's not a 501c3.
It is, we've applied for 501c4 status, not C3. 501c4 is a political entity that is formed for nonprofit purposes and solely for, essentially for this purpose. We don't yet have that designation, but our accountants are working on it.
But the result would not make it donations and charitable contributions?
No, I don't expect under any circumstance that would be the case.
I am thinking of our positions in parishes where maybe the pastor or priest would be in agreement with this resolution, but that because of their link with a bishop,
right,
would probably not approve if we asked to have a campaign.
Right.
Like I put myself,
right.
If I were to ask my pastor, it's a dilemma.
Right.
I'm sure that in the Episcopal Church probably they don't have that same problem.
They might not.
Well, my response to that would be it's a mistake to assume you have to ask. This, by its very nature, is grassroots. This doesn't require anyone's permission. This is voluntary citizenship. So I would just eliminate that from the list of concerns. Work instead on your 10 best friends who think as you think and take a stack of these petitions or download them from the internet and proceed at their discretion. I think it's totally erroneous to assume that anyone needs someone's permission.
And the other thing, you make a very good point. At the end of the day, what I'm telling my volunteers is we do not have to convince everybody. The goal here is to get a constitutional amendment on the ballot that requires 8% of the voters from the last election, or of the total registered voters in the state of Florida, to put it on the ballot, and then I need 60% of the population, of the voting population, to agree. So, and I will tell you, in the last month or so, I've really only encountered 2 people who disagreed with me, one of whom is not even a Florida voter. So I think when people see this issue, we're going to get more than the 60% we need, by far. I would predict on the ballot that we will approach, if not exceed, the highest record ever for voter support for a constitutional amendment provision.
Okay.
Do you feel that you will get support from the media for this? That they will give you the appropriate acknowledgement, publicity, or whatever, just as general news, not necessarily advertisements, but...
I think I'm going to get... Yes, ma'am. I think I'm going to get support from the media in 2 ways. First off, I think the issue is very newsworthy, so I think the press will cover the issue that way. They have covered the efforts of in the legislature that we've mounted over the last 5 years, so I think they'll continue to cover this issue. It's an issue of concern to them. I also expect that there will be editorial endorsements. I can't predict which ones. I can't predict if I'll get it across the board, but there have been editorial endorsements in the past of these legislative efforts, so I would have every reason to believe that major newspapers in Florida are going to support this petition too when the time comes. So I'll certainly be asking for it.
Okay.
The question is who can sign the petition and who can support. The petition form can only be signed by a Florida registered voter. But anyone, whether they're a registered voter in Florida or whether or not they're even a resident of Florida, can support this campaign with donations. We've already received donations from people in the state of Tennessee and the state of Texas, from people who heard about this. And I think that kind of support makes perfect sense because, to my knowledge, this is the first effort in the country to put constitutional protection in place for children in this way. Other states that have changed their laws have done it by statute, but this will be the first time for constitutional purposes. And this campaign can become a model for other states to follow as well. And certainly, just as I have looked at the Delaware experience in changing their laws and tried to gain from that experience here in Florida, I think that ultimately, once we win this campaign, that other states are going to take a look at how we did it here in Florida. The Delaware experience, their website is still up, even though they're done and they finished a couple of years ago. They've left it up so that other people in other states can learn from their experience and how they did it. So I would say to people in other states, this is a great thing to get behind for that reason, because you'll be supporting what will ultimately be replicated elsewhere in the country.
Isn't Connecticut also working on it?
I think Connecticut is working on an effort. I'm not familiar with the details there, but yes, sure.